Hi guys, it's Jenny with Art for Good. Now at the end of the year, right around the corner, it's a good time to reflect, and I've been doing that a lot lately, about my journey in my first year actively trying to promote my art. And it has been such a whirlwind, and I've also learned so much. And so I wanted to share a few of my top takeaways with you of a recap of my first year actively trying to sell my art. My first takeaway is this is really not as easy as it looks. You think before you get in this journey that, hey, I'm gonna just try to sell some of my art and it should be easy, it's beautiful, I love it, everyone's gonna wanna buy it. And there is a steep learning curve when it comes to when you finally get out there, you put yourself out there and stuff doesn't always work, right? Just a lot more work than I expected. It was all worthwhile and I learned so much from it, but I think I just wasn't quite ready for the hustle. The second thing I learned is that imposter syndrome is real. If you're not familiar with imposter syndrome, it is when you essentially feel like you are an imposter in some kind of a community. So in this case, you know, it's easy to feel like there's a certain type of person that's artsy or fits that artist description, and you're just really somebody who likes to do this as a hobby, and you're coming in and trying to compete with people who've been doing this for decades and they're making a great living off of it. And so I think the sooner you can realize that really everyone feels some level of imposter syndrome, even those who are super successful sometimes look around and say, hey, should I really be here? Do I deserve that? The sooner you can kind of get over that, I think the better and more happy you'll be in your art journey. The third thing that has been such a great takeaway this year is I've been so inspired by other artists' work. I was able to, since I was paying attention to really more social media on art and artists, I was really exposed to such a wide variety of art and techniques and just people sharing their passion for this, which is why we're all doing it. So if you or someone you know is just getting started in the art world, go ahead and put the information and links in the description below. I'd be happy to follow you. My other takeaway is that some things are just not gonna work and you cannot take this personally. It takes a lot of courage to put your art out there, and then when it's rejected or someone doesn't wanna buy it, it can feel so personal, right? As artists, we are putting essentially our hearts out on a canvas for people to buy, and when they don't like it, it's very hurtful. And I think the biggest thing I've learned this year is to not take it personally. Buying art is really like buying a car in some ways. Like, people have something in mind, and maybe your style or your whatever you're drawing or painting is not really fitting what the buyer had in mind. That's okay. There are hundreds and thousands of different options of art for people to buy, and that's normal. You also have to be willing to be a little adaptable, and if there's perhaps a different twist on the art that you're doing that's more marketable, give that a try, and just don't take it personally. As long as you're enjoying the process and having fun, that's all that matters. Another thing I learned is there is definitely a benefit to casting a wide net and trying to sell and market your art through a wide variety of channels. So in my case, I have my online Etsy store where I'm selling actual paintings. I'm also doing reproductions there, drop shipping and what have you. I have a whole video on how to do this without any inventory on prints that I will link in the description below. I did art fairs, learned a ton there, and how expensive it can be to get set up in doing an art fair and know how to do it correctly. I did a few gallery shows in some nonprofit community art centers in my community, and that was a huge learning experience also, and a great exposure for me as an artist. I also did a lot of social media videos showing people and teaching how to do the types of art that I do in fluid mediums, as well as just documenting my journey going through this year and learning about the art world. Each of these different channels has benefited me in some way or another, and I think it's worth casting a wide net, trying a bunch of different things, and not just focusing on one way to sell. The thing I learned is don't underestimate or undervalue the power of your tribe. And what I mean by that is your tribe are the people who are going to support you no matter what. Most likely when you're just getting started, at least it was in my case, it's your friends, family, colleagues. The people who show up to support you in your art are likely the people your first year are gonna buy from you. And to be honest, while we all want to be national names and recognized, or maybe some people want that, some notoriety about being an artist, in the beginning, people just want to buy art from artists they find interesting and have a story that they can connect with. And that's likely going to be the people closest to you, at least when you're getting started. So don't knock selling to your mom or your aunt or your cousins or what have you. That helps pay for your art supplies and helps get you more and more experience. You know, reflecting on all of this, there is so much I've learned this year, and I really have enjoyed sharing much of that with you, and I plan to continue to do that as I go into my second year. So if you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button and join me as we're learning and growing together. Now, last but not least, the thing that I found most important through this journey is to just keep it light and keep art the joy that you find it to be. And if it becomes anything other than that, if it becomes like work, or if it becomes something you dread doing, then you're really taking away from the core of what your passion is. And you know, pretty soon it's gonna not be your passion anymore. And that's not what anybody wants, because art is so good for your mind, your creative spirit, and well-being, and it's something that you shouldn't jeopardize. So if it ever becomes something you don't find joy in doing, then take a step back and pause and reflect, and don't let anything take away the joy that you find in your passion for art. That's all I have for this year. I have been so grateful to have all of you as followers. I honestly didn't think I was gonna get anybody interested in my journey other than maybe my mom. And so I am blown away at all the support that you all have shown me this year. And I'm wishing you all a very happy and safe holiday season. And you know what? I think 2024 is gonna be our year. I'll see you next time.